So allowing yourself this opportunity now to lie down in any way that's comfortable for you. So you could either have your feet out towards the corner of the mat with the palms facing upwards, or you can have your hands over your belly. That can be a really nice way to be. Or if you want to have your feet on the floor with your knees rested in towards each other, if that feels more comfortable for you this morning, then do that. And as you bring yourself into settling, allow yourself this opportunity to bring your attention to your breathing. So noticing the breath now as it comes all the way in and all the way back out, maybe just below the nostrils. So if you bring your attention to that space just below the nostrils, you might be able to notice the slightly different quality in the breath between the breath entering and the breath leaving. Maybe the breath feels cooler on the way in than on the way out. Bringing your attention to your breath at your nostrils. And now allow your attention to come down to your body. And as you breathe in, allow the attention to trace all the way up from your heels to the top of your head, the back of the body. And as you breathe out, allow the attention to travel from the top of the head down from the front of the body to the tips of the toes. So breathing in up the back of the body. And breathing out down the front of the body. So just allowing the attention to travel all the way up from the heels to the top of the head on the breath coming in. And from the top of the head down the front of the body to the tips of the toes as the breath leaves. And noticing as you do that, that the breath is likely to slow. So noticing the rate of the breath, whether it's slowed down. And then bring your knees all the way into your tummy and give yourself a hug. Hug over the shins and bring your attention to your breathing. So when you breathe in, allow the belly to go into the thighs. And as you breathe out, allow the belly to come away from the thighs. And breathing in, the belly goes into the thighs. Breathing out, the belly comes away from the thighs. And then give yourself a really strong hug in. And just have a little wiggle in your shoulders. Turn your head to the right and to the left. Just have a little release out of the neck and the shoulders. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, hug right in and see whether you can lift your head up and bring the nose in between your knees, or aim there. Only if it feels okay for your neck to do that. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're hugging right in and letting your head and neck lift. And then one more time, breathing in, and as you breathe out, hugging all the way in. Release that out, roll over onto one side and come up to a comfortable seated position. Let's all come up to standing. And have a little shake out and a move. So shaking out the arms, shaking out the legs, having a real wiggle and a move around. Don't necessarily do what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to make my stand a bit higher so that you can see me stand. Oh, loving all this technology. Okay, so yeah, have a real wiggle out, a real move, and a little shake. Shake a leg out. You can lift a leg and really, really waggle it. And lift another leg and really waggle it. Wiggle your bottom, and what you might find is when you wiggle your bottom, your belly wiggles, and that's fine too. In fact, it's quite a good idea to feel your belly go from side to side. Your boobs might be wiggling. Shake the arms up towards the sky. Shake them down to the floor. Have a real move around. That's it. Let your neck move. Let everything wiggle, shake. That's it. Good, lovely. And then from there, you're going to allow yourself to keep moving as you let your head go. You're going to wiggle down towards the floor. And it might not feel easy in your body because it might be the first thing you've done today. But just keep it going, keep the shape. You don't have to come all the way to the floor at all. Little bend in the knee. Feel your bottom wiggle in the air a little bit. Shaking it all out this morning. Wiggle and shake. And then maybe come to a little bit of stillness. In your forward bend, if you feel okay to be in your forward bend, let the weight come into the front of the feet a little bit more and make a noisy sigh. So, real noisy sigh. Then you might find as that happens, that the body drips forward a bit further forward. So, releasing it out, wiggling your bottom. And then see whether you can come into some kind of like a position where your body is attached to your side. If you can, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. But really releasing out. And then see if you're pinching in your toes, and if you are, release. And then gently come up a little way. Shake out your arms and release out into the floor. Have a little swing from left to right. Shaking it all out. Coming up a little bit further. Shaking all the way, wriggling your shoulders. Say no with your neck. Really release it all out. Have a little swing. Gently come up a little bit further. Shake again. And then maybe get to the point where you're almost up and release out the shoulders a bit more. Come all the way up to standing. If you've got slightly lower blood pressure, you might feel a bit woo. When you come up, that's okay. And notice already, your heart might be beating a little bit faster. So just allow that feeling of the heart beating faster to happen. And then I want you to notice whether there's enough space for you to do a Wonder Woman. So is there enough space for you to do a Wonder Woman? Let's just see whether there's enough space for Wonder Woman. That's it. Okay, so we're not actually going to do the full Wonder Woman. We're not going to spin all the way around. We're going to be soft in our knees, arms nice and easy, and we're going to allow that kind of washing line, the washing line arm to happen. So letting the washing line arms happen. That's it. And you might hear the slap of your arms as they go round. So, this is, in one of my yoga books, this is a wake up yoga. And this was the first thing we do, you know, wake up yoga. So, see whether you can really kind of slap round. Let the head move as well. So you don't need to be looking at me. Just twisting around one way, twisting around the other. Big swing of the arms. Big swing of the arms. Good, lovely. And then let that start to slow down. Slow down, slow down until you come to stillness. And in stillness, just noticing how the body's feeling. Maybe you can feel some tingling in your fingers. So having an awareness of that, and then having a roll of the shoulders. And that's it. Rolling them back the other way. And then give yourself a hug. That's it. And with a hug, have a little rock from side to side. And if you are feeling a little bit, which I think we all are a little bit, then You can even close your eyes and really feel into that nurturing hug that you're giving yourself. Good, lovely. And then open up nice and wide and hug the other way. Giving yourself a really lovely, cuddly hug. Okay, and then we're going to stretch right up to the sky, right up to our fingertips. So anyone who feels like having a gentler practice this morning, just take it down a notch, and you can kind of stretch up, stretch forward, do something slightly different with it. It can be nice to stretch away. And then bring the arms all the way back down. And then this time we're going to lace our fingers, turn them away, and stretch up to the sky. That feels okay. You can look up to your hands. And as you stretch up to the sky, see if you can really plant your feet into the floor. Have a little stretch to the side one way, back to the middle. A little stretch to the side the other way, back to the middle. And then open the arms out wide and roll the shoulders. Good, lovely. And then lace your fingers again. See if you can lace them the other way. If you can't, don't worry about it. Stretch the arms away, up to the sky. Look up to your hands. See if you're frowning. If you are, see if you can just release that. And once again, have a little stretch to the left. Stretch to the right. And then opening up the arms, roll the shoulders. Good, lovely. Make sure you've got a decent amount of space behind you. So if you've got a mat there, it's good to kind of be able to come towards the front of your mat. If you're not standing on a mat, then don't worry about it. Just see if you can stand forward a little bit so you've got space behind you. We're going to lift up to the sky again. Bend our knees, see if we can get our hands to the floor. That's it. So bending it, that's it. Good, lovely. See if you can get your hands to the floor with your knees really bent. It might feel like quite hard work. And that's okay. See if you can tuck down. Let your head go. You don't have to have the hands flat to the floor. You can have the knees bent a little. You can have the hands not quite so close to the floor. But see if you come into like a tucked in forward bend. And then from that tucked in forward bend, can you step a leg back? Can you step a leg back? That's it. And kind of come into a little bit of a squat. A little bit of a lunge. There you go, coming into a little bit of a lunge. If it feels okay to have the back knee down, then do. And start to wiggle forward and backwards. That's it. And you don't want to wiggle so far forward that the knee goes beyond the ankle. So you just want to come to that place where the ankle and the knee are in line. And you're getting a nice stretch. If you've got long legs and shorter arms, you might want to bring your arms in. Yeah, for some people that's much easier. That's it. So just having a little rock forward and backwards. So maybe you're getting a nice stretch in the front thigh. And if it doesn't feel okay to the back knee, if you've got a blanket you can put under that back knee or anything that you can use to make it feel a bit more comfortable, then do that. Good. Have a real wiggle around. And maybe everyone now take their hands. If you've got your left foot forward, take your hands around to the right. If you've got your other foot forward, take the other hand and just have a real wiggle there. See how much of a wiggle you can get into your bottom. How much movement can you get into that hip? Good, having a real wiggle around. And then from here, bring that left leg back, come into all fours. That's it. I'm trusting if I can't see you that you're doing, it doesn't matter if I can't see you, so long as you can follow me, it's fine. Wiggle around, let your head move, one shoulder maybe forward, then the other shoulder forward. Round at the back, circling round, having a really lovely wiggle and move. Releasing out the neck and the shoulders. Really working here. That's it. Get the body moving. Maybe bend the elbows a little bit. Maybe bend one elbow down and then the other elbow down. We can do a baby press up. That's it. You'll be ruining the day that you said you had spring energy this morning. That's it. Good, lovely. And then maybe start to wiggle backwards, sitting back towards your heels, and then coming forward. If you can't come all the way back, that's completely fine. Just to get yourself a nice stretch in the back. So if sitting back on your heels doesn't work, you can bring the arms forward a bit and get a stretch that way without sitting back towards your heels. So whichever works for you. See if you can get a bit of a rocking motion happening there. Good, lovely. And then from here, really be at the front of your mat or quite far forward so you've got space behind you, and then turn one foot under and roll forward and backwards. So you're getting a really nice stretch into that back leg. Rolling from the toes to the heels and back again. That's it, rolling from the toes to the heels and back again. Good, lovely. And then bring that leg back, take the other leg back. So you're getting a really nice stretch. When you stretch into your heel, you should feel it in the back calf. That's it, rolling forward and backwards. Good, lovely. And then sit as far back into your heels as you can. Lift your fingertips off the floor. Come forward, turn your toes under, and lift your bottom in the air. Lift your bottom high in the air. Give yourself a really nice stretch into your back, and then walk your heels down to the floor. And walking your heels down to the floor. And then see if you can take one foot back and the other foot back, and come into a little bit of a plank, and then bring the knees down. And then come all the way down to the floor. That's it. And when you're on the floor, have your elbows down and start walking your shoulders forward. That's it, walking the shoulders forward. Good, lovely. And then from here, release out the neck and the shoulders. So have a big circle around of the neck. That's it. Releasing out the neck and the shoulders. And then gently look forward. If you're more comfortable with your elbows a little bit further forward, you want to be in a position which is comfortable here. So you can look up, and that should give you a stretch from your chin to the pit of the throat. Keep the forehead nice and smooth. And then tuck the chin in. Give yourself a really nice stretch in the back of the neck. Looking up. The stretch from chin to pit of throat. And then tucking in. And again, opening up. Good, and tucking in. And then come all the way down to the floor. If you need to, excuse me, you bring your feet wide and you clench your buttocks. And if you bring your feet wide, press into the backs of the feet and draw your buttocks in towards each other, that will support your lower back when you come up. If you've got a stronger lower back, you can have the feet closer together and you don't need to do that so much. You're going to bring your forehead to the floor and bring your elbows to the waist. And then you're going to roll up and see if you can take your hands away. See if you can take your hands away. Hello. And then replace your hands on the floor. See whether you can draw your buttocks together. Lift your belly off the floor a little way. That's it, and come up in that way. And then come all the way back down. Come back onto all fours. So you're coming onto all fours and having a wiggle and a move here. So wiggling the hips, letting the hips release out, rolling all the way. And then imagining your back's like a lava lamp, so getting that movement forward and back, really wiggling away. And then keeping the hands really close to the body, walking around to one knee, getting a nice stretch on one side, and then coming back to the middle line and walking around the other way. See if you can keep your feet where they are, because the feet start moving around, just turning around. That's it, and then come back to the middle line and have another little wiggle and a little move. And you can open your mouth and yawn. That's a really good way to release stress. Just release it all out. And then sit back towards your heels, as near to your heels as you can. I know that might not be so easy for some people. Come back. And on off, like when you're in that kind of downward V position, have a complete wiggle here as well. So don't feel married to getting the back straight and the legs straight. Do whatever your body feels like it needs this morning. Have a real wiggle and move around. This is a less sticky back. And just see, so I've done this for a bit and I've really felt the need to stretch into my heels. You can come down at any time that you need. You can come back down onto all fours at any time you need and have a little wiggle on all fours. And then you're going to see if you can lift the right leg up in the air and bring it all the way through. And if you can't bring it all the way through, you're going to help it through. So an easier way of doing this is coming onto all fours. So you can come onto all fours and then take a leg forward. So if you come onto all fours and then take a leg forward. That's it. And then have a wiggle. So this, if it feels like you've done this leg already, then do the other leg. That's it. So you might have done this leg already, so do the other side. That's it. And then once again, if you've got longer arms, it's not very easy to be in this position when your arms aren't, when your legs are really long. Much easier to have the arms on the inside. That's it. So playing with that forward and backward movement. The further back you go, maybe you'll get more of a stretch in the outside of the front leg. So have a play with that. Wiggling around and moving. That's it. You can see how much of your hips you can circle. And then see if you can turn the back toes under and come into a forward bend. Let everything go. Let the knees bend. Let the head go. Yawn. Really use this as a release. If your hands do go flat to the floor, you can use that floor as a base. Notice your feet. Are you into your heels? Are you into your toes? Can you rock from heels to toes? Just using this. If it feels like you want to straighten your legs, then do. If you want to keep them bent, then do. Yawn. It's really, really good to yawn in a forward bend. Really use it to release out. You can even find that your eyes might water, and that's completely fine as well. So coming into that forward bend and shake it all out. So you might want to come a little bit higher to shake it all out. Release, release. Let go, have a little swing from side to side. Wriggling in the shoulders. Having a swing from side to side. Really letting everything go. And then slowly coming up. It can be really valuable to be at that spot where you're almost at standing. You can really release out the shoulders there. And then drawing yourself all the way up to standing. Let me tip this back a bit so you can see me again. There we go. Okay, and then roll the shoulders. That's it, rolling the shoulders, a really complete roll of the shoulders. And then roll the shoulders the other way. And then bring the hands to the shoulders. Bring the elbows all the way in, opening up that way. The elbows in up to the sky. Releasing out here. Maybe allow the breath to come with you, so breathing in all the way up. Breathing out all the way back down. Good, lovely. And then back the other way, breathing the elbows towards each other, elbows together, down and round. That's it. And then just shaking out the hands, shaking out the arms, shaking out the shoulders, releasing it all out. And then we're going to do a little bit of front crawl this morning, and then lift an elbow up, bring it round, and come through. Bring the next elbow up, and coming through. You don't live right by the sea, chances are you're not getting a swim at the moment, so let's do a standing swim. All the way back, and you're cutting through the water, coming over and cutting through. So when your elbow goes back, look like it's quite the same to me, and then draw all the way through. You're looking behind you, coming through, looking behind you, coming through. Good, lovely, looking behind you, coming through. Maybe go a little bit faster, we can have a little bit of a rhythm going as we open up and come through. Good, lovely. And then let that go, have a little shake, a little wiggle around. And then we're going to open up the shoulders again. We're going to lift the arm up towards the sky, look at the thumb, turn the hand the opposite way, follow it back. Lift the arm up, follow the hand back. Lift the arm up, and then see if you can kind of create a windmill effect. Allow the body to turn with the arms. Feel like you're lifting, so when the arm lifts to the sky, the body's lifting up. Lifting up, opening up, lifting up, opening up. Don't get too dizzy. That's it. Okay, and then release that. Let the shoulders release out. Bring the hands to the ears. Pull at the ears. If you're not wearing earrings, if you're wearing earrings, pull around the earring. Give your ears a waggle. Give them a real release out. And come a little bit higher up into the ears. All the way into the top of the ears. Pull, pull, pull. Into all those nerve endings in the ears. Give your ears a real waggle and a move. That's it. Hands to the neck. And give yourself a nice massage down. Use your thumbs too. Just really being aware of that space from the ears all the way down to the shoulders. So anytime you're kind of feeling a bit discombobulated, I love that word, then this is a really nice thing to do, just to massage into the neck. And then bring your arms up towards the sky and imagine that you're holding a banner and you're at a gig of your favourite pop artist and you're waving so they can see. Yay! You've got a big banner that you've spent hours creating and you're waving it for them. Look at me, hello, hello. And then we're going to let go of that banner and stretch behind us. And then lift back up again. And we've got hold of the banner again and we're waving our banner. And then we're going to let the arms come all the way down. Give ourselves a little rest before the next song comes on. And it's your favourite song, you need the banner. So that you can wave and imagine you're singing along to your favourite song as you're waving the banner. So that your pop can see how much you love them. Feel that love. And then all the way back. Good, and then come all the way back down again. Good, have a little wiggle. Bring your palms together. Stretch up towards the sky. And then bring your arms out and round, come into a forward bend with the knees bent if that feels okay. Yawn, release, let go. So use that forward bend to release out. That's it. I'm going to just come a little bit further forward. You stay down. That's it. And then from the forward bend, you're going to take your left leg back. The left leg back. And once again, we're going to have a little wiggle and a move. So we're having a little dynamic when there's not quite vinyasa flow, but it's a wiggle and a move that we're definitely having this morning. That's it, moving around. Again, if you've got your hands either side of your knee, you might feel like you've not got quite the space that you need, so you might want to bring the arms in. And it can be nice, if it feels good to, turn your toes right up towards your nose, and that gives you more of a stretch in your bottom. Once again, you might not be able to get your hands to the floor, so this is fine to do. Reaching to the toes is fine to do. Hands to the floor, whatever position you might need to be in to get that stretch is fine. You just play with it. You can even, some people like to sit all the way down. So you can play with that. See if you can sit all the way down. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's fine to be here and you can have the knees bent still and have a wiggle, but if you can have your heels right where your pelvic floor is, then you might want to have a little stretch forward here. Can you do that? Can you hold here? Is it excruciatingly painful so you need to come up? Just have a little play with it. See whether it's okay, or you can be in this position. So just having a wiggle that round in all fours. If you need something underneath your knees, you can grab something from underneath your knees. Just playing with that position. See if we're okay with that. Good, lovely. So you can have a little go. See, can I come back? Are my knees okay? If your knees are not okay, do not do this. Some people can sit with their heel all the way out to the side. That might be more comfortable for you, but we're just playing with the root chakra here. You can really connect to your root with your heel if you come into this position. Just playing with that. And then when you come back into that lunge, you might feel like you've got a bit more space. So you might feel like we've just lost someone there. You might feel like you've got a bit more space there. Just check here. Oh, that's strange. Okay, so having a little wiggle and a move. And then bring that foot back. Come back to all fours. Tap the top of your head. Find that sweet spot. Tap your bottom. Find where that knobbly bit of the spine is at the back. And we're going to play with those two spots. So we're going to look up. Then we're going to draw the belly all the way back. And it's like that, the coccyx, that bit you touch at the back is drawing you all the way back. Then you're going to bend your elbows, nose along the floor if you can, and come up. Round the back, sitting down towards the heels, scooping forward. So continuing in that way. So imagining that you're like one of those plain wooden snakes or an actual real snake. And it's like something's drawing your head forward as you're doing that. I'm assuming that that is what everybody's doing. And that's it. Coming all the way forward, rounding the back. So really feeling that middle back lift up, drawing the body back, maybe even lifting up on the pelvic floor, pressing the backs of the feet into the floor, scooping through. Good, really enjoying that release out in the back. And then coming onto all fours, turning the toes under and coming, excuse me, nothing like sneezing down the dog. It's very hay feverish today. Just enjoying that stretch out. And then in this position, see how much you can wiggle your hips and your bottom. So getting a real wiggle. Can you get your pubic bones to come forward and backwards? So how much of a wiggle can you get your hips to go from side to side? Really wiggling and moving around in that inverted V position. Maybe even coming forward and back. That's it, I've got. Just working with that, wiggling around. And then see, maybe you can take one foot back, the other foot back, and make your way down. Back to all fours, and then all the way back down to your belly. So coming down onto your belly. That's it. So on your belly, you can get your forehead or your chin to the floor. That's it. You can just about see mine from here. And just breathe here with your arms all the way out in front of you. Hopefully you've got enough space to stretch your fingers away. And you might find that your heart's beating. Well, it will be beating, but a bit faster than it normally does. And you might be able to feel your belly go into the earth as you breathe in and come away from the earth as you breathe out. Be aware of your lower back and how it feels. If you know you get sensitive in your lower back, you want your feet nice and wide. The backs of your feet are going to be part of this movement. So just have a little awareness of the parts of the feet that are in contact with the floor. So it's kind of the front of the feet that are in contact with the floor. And see how it feels as you breathe out to put a bit of pressure into the backs of the feet. And you might even find that as you do that, the knees lift up a little way. And maybe the buttocks draw in towards each other. So use that pressure. Maybe you can feel the pubic bones go into the floor. So you're breathing in. As you breathe out, put a little bit of pressure into the backs of the feet. That might lift the shins off the floor, maybe even lift the thighs off the floor. You can feel the pubic bones go into the floor, the belly come away. Breathing in, release. Breathing out. Feel those buttocks draw in towards each other. The thighs working, the backs of the feet working. Lift that belly away from the floor. Good. Breathing in. As you breathe out, drawing those feet into the floor. The knees off the floor. Belly away. Breathing in to release. Do that one more time. Good. And then let that go. Bring your arms into your arms are stretching forward still. And now you're going to allow the weight to really feel even between the left and the right side of the body. Breathe in, you can feel your belly go into the floor. And as you breathe out, gently see if you can lift the right arm off the floor without tipping into the left side. So you've got your feet weighted down, you're using that support of your lower body, and you're stretching away. You've got a nice lengthening along the neck, you're not lifting too high. And it's like if you can imagine Superman, da, 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 that kind of stretching away. So you're not stretching too far up. And then lengthen all the way down. And when you come down, you might feel that that right arm feels a bit longer than the left. So we're going to have a go at doing that again. You breathe in. As you breathe out, pubic bones into the floor, back to the feet into the floor, or front to the feet into the floor, and lifting up, lengthening through. So you're not feeling that weight too much on the left-hand side. You're really staying in the middle. Remember to breathe. Breathing is always good. And then come all the way back down. And see if you can do that one more time. You might be very close to the ground when you do that, and that's completely fine. It's really quite strong. And then releasing all the way back down. Have a little wiggle. You can place your left hand on top of your right, your chin on your hands, and have a little wiggle from side to side. And then you can lift your feet off the floor, circle your ankles. And then circle them back the other way. That's it, circling them one way, circling them back the other way, playing around with your ankles. And then you can let one foot come to the floor, then the other foot, so your legs are going up, forward and backwards. And you can, maybe you can hear mine tap on the floor as I'm doing that. And then allow the legs to come all the way back down. Stretch the hands away, chin or forehead on the floor. Breathing in, as you breathe out, buttocks come together, front to the feet go into the floor, left arm lifts. It really helps me to imagine Superman. I'm a child of the 80s. I remember him going through the sky with his arm facing forward. I'm sure there have been loads of Supermans since then. Lengthening through, and then continuing lengthening through as you come back down again. And notice the next time you come up, have you tipped over to the right hand side? You want to really see if you can stay in the middle. Breathing in, as you breathe out, lifting up and through. Lengthening all the way through. And then come all the way back down. And one final time. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, pubic bone into floor, back to the feet, buttocks engaged. Good, and coming all the way up, and then come back down again. Bring your hands to your, so quite far back, so the hand by the side of your breasts, elbows towards the waist, and then come back up onto all fours. Have a little wiggle around. Yay, good stuff. Really lovely. And then from there, have a little stretch back. And come onto all fours. And lift up the left leg into the air. See if you can look underneath the armpit. Stretch that leg down towards the floor. And you might need a little bit of help to bring the leg forward. You might want to come back onto all fours to bring that leg forward. Whatever you need to do to get into that lunge position. You don't want your knees to be hurting at all. So if it's not soft enough under your back knee, put something underneath your back knee or lift up a little bit so that you don't have to put the pressure there. The hands can be on the inside. Have a real wiggle and move around. Good, really nice. A nice little wiggle and move. And then once again on this side, see whether you can bring that toe up towards your nose. You might need to take your hands away. If you've got long legs that you can't quite reach, you might need to lift up like this. And then you need, there's more of a balance. You may have to have your arms out to the side to help you. The more you lean forward, the more stretch you'll get in your bottom. So you might even want to have your hands here. Just see what you need to do. I've got those short legs, so it's easier for me to do this. So just having a play with wherever you might need to be. You might have one hand on the floor and not the other hand. Just giving yourself a stretch out at the front, and then see whether it isn't excruciatingly painful to sit back. You want to make sure the knee feels okay as well. The heel goes into right where the pelvic floor is. Or some people are much more comfortable with their foot out to the side like that. I'm not. And this is a really good way to connect into the pelvic floor as well. And then see whether you've got any leverage to lean forward from here. Just working here as well. Good, lovely. Really nice. And then coming back up and see whether you're coming back onto all fours. And then from all fours, see if you can come into kind of like an inverted V or down dog and walk back so that you go back into your standing forward bend. Shake out the head. Yawn. Really release that, have a wiggle here. And then gently start to come up. Have a little sway to the left, sway to the right. Gently coming up a little bit more. Sway to the left, sway to the right, gently coming up. Until you're all the way up to standing. I'm thinking, why did I say I felt like I needed a dynamic class this morning? That's it. Okay. So we're going to bring our attention to our legs. And we're going to come into a mini squat. So just a mini squat. Not sure if you can see my feet. It's not necessary to see my feet necessarily. That's it. So a little mini squat. So just bending the knees a tiny little way. That's it. And then transfer the weight to the left foot and to the right foot and to the left foot and to the right foot. And you can do that with a sway in the hips. I'm going to start off with a sway in the hips. And then see if you can start to sway from left to right, still with the knees bent, but really weighting down into the foot. So rather than having the hip sway, you can think, when you go over to one side, and really can feel the weight in the right heel and the right front of the foot. And maybe have the hands at your belly and feel your belly supporting you as well. And then go into the left side. And once again, can you feel that in the inside of the foot, the outside of the foot? The belly really feeling supported as you go to either side. And then stick with the right side and imagine that you're really sitting down into that. So that leg feels super strong. Your buttocks supporting you, your belly supporting you, but the knee is bent. And that's allowing you to stand up nice and tall. And you're going to lift the other foot off the floor. And you're going to play with standing up straight and bending that knee. And that's it, standing up straight. Use your buttocks to support you as well. And then bending that knee. How does that feel? Should feel super strong. It's a really good idea for us to do this kind of work because we want strong ankles, strong thighs. If you want the arms further out, then that's fine too. And then let that release up, shake it about, have a little wiggle, and have a little play on the other side as well. So you start with that little bit of a squat, and you see whether you're on your hip or not. See if you can really stay into your foot, and then see if that other foot will lift off the floor. This is a bit of a play with strength. Strength and balance and focus. So again, this is good if you're feeling a little bit, woo, where am I? Because you have to really concentrate. And then see if you can bend the knee. How low can you bend that knee? And then can you come up straight? I'm not saying this is easy. You bend that knee. You're being supported everywhere. And can you straighten up? Can you bend that knee? Good, and straighten up and then walk that out. Might feel really strong in your ankles. That's fine. You might need to circle an ankle, circle the other ankle. We're going to go to the next stage with this one. You come into your squat and you bring the foot over. So you know, imagine you really need the toilet and you're crossing your legs over so that you don't do a wee. That kind of crossing over. That's it. And then see if that foot will come off the floor. It might do. So it might be more like you're sitting down on the sofa with your legs crossed, but tightly crossed though. That's it. And then see, you can always have the arms to help you by being out and out to the side. Some people have got legs that are the right length to be able to tuck the foot behind. Other people don't. So if you've got the length of leg that can do the tuck, you're at home, so I can't tell whether you're using a wall or not to help you. If you want to, you can. But it's nice to imagine there's no walls. And then you can come back up and have a little walk out. It might feel quite strong. It's good to do that. It's good for our bone density to really play with weight bearing. And then have a little squat on the other side. That's it. And we can do the first, oh, I need the loo. That one. That famous I need the loo yoga pose. That's it. And then will that top leg come off? And can you squiggle it round? That's it. So arms wherever they need to be to help you be there. Doesn't matter if you have a wobble. It's fine to wobble. It's fine to come out and have another go. If we fail, we then never tried again. We think about we never learned to ride a bike. We never learned to swim. We never learned to drive a car. So all those things, not that you should crash before you learn to drive a car. You get the picture. You've got to learn how to do things. And the more we practice, the better we get, the more we feel able to do. That's it. It's called yoga practice, not yoga perfect. That's it. And it might feel quite strong, so you might need to walk it out afterwards. Have a little walk out. Woohoo! Now let's give ourselves a hug. A little rock from side to side. And then from that hug, can you lift the arms up? So they look like that. It's nice to do this standing, but I'm just coming close so that you can see. That's it. And you might want to have a little wiggle from side to side. And if you can, so there'll be one hand that's lower than the other. You might be in a place where the lower hand can come to your nose and then swivel around so that it's gently holding the other hand. Or you might not, you might be more like that. So some people will be like this, and then depending on the length of your arms, you might be like this. With the arms together, that's it. Yeah, you're good. That's it. And then fly the arms out. That's it, fly the arms out and hug the other way. And if you're not sure, just give yourself a couple of hugs until it feels weird. And it's the weird hug, it's the one that's not a usual hug. We'll start with a hug and have the hug first. I mean, any opportunity to give yourself a hug is good. And then allow that lifting to happen. Have a little wiggle here and then see whether you can bring that lower hand, that thumb to the nose and wiggle around. That's it. So doing things that are a little bit complicated and involve, where's my hand, how does that work? That can be really good for the brain to do when you're kind of feeling like your thoughts are doing all sorts of funny things. And then fly out. That's it. So if you're not a fan of what your thoughts are doing, then do something difficult. Okay, so we're going to have a go with putting all of this together. Little squat. Allow the weight to come to the right hand side. Lift the left leg up and do that I need the loo thing. See if you can swing around that top leg. The other arm that comes forward and see if you can come around. Lovely. And you might even want to come forward. Yeah, if you come out, it's fine. You need to have another go, it's fine. So, woo, and then come up beautifully, just like I did. Oh. Have another little go. I'm just going to open the window. It's a beautiful warm day here. Yeah, if you were in the studio with me, which I would love for you to be, and have the doors all open today. One day we'll be back. Okay, and then the other side, a little bend in the knees. Really feel strong, powerful into that leg. I own this. And then swap over. And then it's the opposite arm that comes forward. And wiggle around. That's it. Good, maybe you can come forward. That's it. And then fly out. It's stuck on my toes again. I can hear someone being noisy outside. Okay, we're going to come down to sitting. So for you, a comfortable seated position might be sitting on a chair, or if you've got a meditation stool at home, then that's a good thing to be using. You want to make sure you've got a nice space for your belly. I'm sitting on my heels at the moment, which isn't a brilliant idea because they'll fall asleep. Much better to have something that you can use so that you've got a really nice amount of space here. So that's why when you sit cross-legged, sometimes everything's a bit scrunched up. So lots of space at the belly. And then we're going to have a little play with our Ujjayi breath. So that doing that with my mouth open, that kind of like Darth Vader breath, or sound of the sea is a bit nicer. But what you'd like to, what the intention is to do that with the mouth closed. So it's like, so you can hear that kind of like sound with the breath. If that works for you, brilliant, use it, go for it. If it doesn't, ignore it and just see if you can breathe in and out through your nose. It is hay fever season, so if you're finding that breathing in and out through your nose isn't so easy, if you need to breathe through your mouth, then you can do. I'm just having a little sip of my drink. So just get used to what that feels like, and then let it go, and let the breath do whatever it wants to do. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our attention to our pelvic floor, and then to the top of the head. So you might want to just touch the top of the head again. That's that middle line that we're coming to. And we're going to imagine that we're painting a line from the pubic bone, from the pelvic floor, all the way up the front of the body to the top of the head. And then we're painting a line all the way down the back again. And that can be whatever colour line you want it to be, and it can help to visualise if we've got our eyes closed. We all know how to visualise. If I ask you to visualise an orange, I'm sure you can imagine like even a different one, like whether it's a seedless one or a different, you know, all different, a thick-skinned one or a thin-skinned one. If I ask you to visualise a banana, up comes the colour yellow, an apple, red or green. We can all visualise. You can even visualise a rainbow. If you want to imagine a rainbow, I'm sure that idea comes to your mind. You don't need to be able to see the colour. You can kind of imagine the colour. I rarely actually see the colour for myself when I do this. Okay, so if you feel okay to have your eyes closed, have your eyes closed now. If you want to keep them open, that's also fine. And bring your attention to your breathing. I'm not doing anything to the breath at all at the moment. So allowing the attention to come to the breath now. Maybe notice any movement that's happening in your body with the breath. And then having an awareness of that Ujjayi breath. If you can bring yourself into that Ujjayi breath, then do. And if not, so long as you're breathing in and out through the nose, that's completely fine. You're breathing in and out through the nose. And now you can imagine maybe even that there's a paint pot and you're dipping your paintbrush in the paint pot. And as you breathe in, breathing up the front of the body to the top of the head. And then as you breathe out, you're painting that line all the way down the back. So breathing in all the way up the front of the body. Breathing out all the way down the back. Allowing the attention to travel up the body on the in-breath. And down the back of the body on the out-breath. And if you've chosen a colour, maybe that colour is really clear now. You can feel that paintbrush painting the line up the front of the body, all the way down the back, back to the pelvic floor. If you want to change the colour of your paint, then you can. All the way up and all the way back down. And as you trace the attention up and down, you might even be able to listen to the sound of your breath as you do that. A slightly different quality of the sound of the in-breath compared to the sound of the out-breath. If you find that your mind started to wander, that's completely fine. Have an awareness of that thought, and then gently bring yourself back to maybe breathing a different colour now, all the way up the front of the body, to the top of the head, and all the way back down. That smooth paintbrush travelling all the way up the front of the body. And all the way down the back. And if you prefer counting to painting, you could always count how many counts does it take to travel up the front of my body. How many counts does it take to travel all the way down the back? The next time you've painted all the way down your back, or you've counted down your back, let that go. And then become a little bit prepared to allow the attention to travel in the opposite direction. So this time, as the breath comes in, the attention will travel from the pelvic floor all the way up to the top of the head, up the back, all the way up the spine, up the back of the head to the top of the head. And then it will travel all the way down the front of the body, back to the pelvic floor. Once again, if you fancy dipping your paintbrush into that tin of paint, picking a colour, and allowing that colour to travel all the way up the back. And then all the way back down the front. Enjoying that movement of the attention up the back of the body and down the front of the body. If there are any sounds that you're aware of, just notice them and bring your attention back to the movement of the breath, the movement of the attention. If you notice your mind wandering, then maybe the next time you dip that paintbrush into the paint pot, it's a different colour again. The next time the attention travels down the front of the body, when you reach the pelvic floor, let the attention go, let that practice go, let it dissolve. Allow the mind now complete freedom. And let the breath do whatever it chooses. So the mind has complete freedom now. And the breath is choosing its own pattern and way. And then very gently place your hands over your eyes. And in this place with your hands over your eyes, just notice how you feel. How does my body feel now? How does my mind feel? And then gently blink the eyes open and come back. So, following on from that practice, allowing yourself to come into a comfortable lying down position. You really want to be super, super comfy. Even though it's a warm day here today, you can find your temperature drop when we practice Yoga Nidra. So it can be a good idea to find a blanket, a pillow. And you don't have to lie on your back for Yoga Nidra. If you do lie on your back, it's really nice to have that kind of support underneath the knees. If you're at home, that might be a cushion. If you've got a bolster, then use that. I really like having something soft underneath the head. There's something about having something soft underneath your head that kind of transmits to your head and goes, yeah, I can relax now, I can let go. And then once you are comfortably lying, you can bring your attention to your breathing. So noticing that breath come all the way in and all the way back out. Having an awareness of the breath. So once again, it can be nice to bring the attention to the nostrils and notice that space just below the nostrils where the air enters and the air leaves. And now if it feels comfortable to do so, bring your attention to your heart. So allowing your attention to sit at your heart now. And today, some of the practices that we've been doing have been connecting us to our root chakra, to Muladhara chakra, to the earth. I'm going to share a little story with you this morning about the Earth Mother, Demeter. The Earth Mother Demeter had a beautiful daughter called Persephone, who was playing out in the meadow one day. Persephone came upon one particular lovely bloom and reached out her fingertips to cup its lovely face. Suddenly the ground began to shake and a giant zigzag ripped across the land. Up from deep within the earth charged Hades, the god of the underworld. He stood tall and mighty in a black chariot, driven by 4 horses, the colour of ghost. Hades seized Persephone into his chariot, her veils and sandals flying down, down, down into the earth. He reined his horses. Persephone's screams grew more and more faint as the rift in the earth healed over, as though nothing had happened. The voice of the maiden crying out echoed through the stones of the mountains, bubbled up in a watery cry from underneath the sea. Demeter heard the stones cry out, she heard the watery crying, and then over all the land came an eerie silence and the smell of crushed flowers. And tearing her wreath from her immortal hair and unfurling down from each shoulder her dark veils, Demeter flew out over the land like a great bird, searching for, calling for her daughter. That night, an old crone at the edge of a cave remarked to her sisters that she had heard 3 cries that day. One, a youthful voice crying out in terror, and another calling plaintively, and a third, that of a mother weeping. Persephone was nowhere to be found, and so began Demeter's crazed and months-long search for her beloved child. Demeter raged, she wept, she screamed, she asked after, searched every land formation underneath, inside and atop, begged mercy, begged death, but no matter what, she could not find her heart child. So, she who had made everything grow in perpetuity cursed all the fertile fields of the world, screaming in her grief, die, die, die. Because of Demeter's curse, no child could be born, no wheat could rise for bread, no flowers for feasts, no boughs for the dead. Everything lay withered and sucked at parched earth or dry breast. Demeter herself no longer bathed, her robes were mud-drenched, her hair hung in dreadlocks. Even though the pain in her heart was staggering, she wouldn't surrender. After many askings, pleadings and episodes, all leading to nothing, she finally slumped down at the side of a well in a village where she was unknown. And as she leaned her aching body against the cool stone of the well, along came a woman, or rather a sort of woman. And this woman danced up to Demeter, wiggling her hips in a way suggesting sexual intercourse, and shaking her breasts in her little dance. And when Demeter saw her, she couldn't help but smile just a little. The dancing female was very magical indeed, for she had no head whatsoever, and her nipples were her eyes and her vulva was her mouth. It was through this lovely mouth that she began to regale Demeter with some nice juicy jokes. Demeter began to smile, and then chuckled, and then gave a full belly laugh. And together the two women laughed, and the little belly goddess Baubo and the powerful Mother Earth goddess Demeter. And it was just this laughing that drew Demeter out of her depression and gave her the energy to continue her search for her daughter, which with the help of Baubo and the crone Hecate and the sun Helios was ultimately successful. Persephone was restored to her mother. The world, the land and the bellies of women thrived again. Bringing your attention now to each part of the body as I mention it, without any need to move. Allowing the attention now to sit at the tip of the tongue, the root of the tongue, the top of the tongue and the base of the tongue, the top lip and the bottom lip, the right cheek and the left cheek, the tip of the nose, the space between the eyebrows, the smoothness of the forehead, the top of the head, the back of the head, the pit of the throat, the right collarbone and left collarbone, the right shoulder and left shoulder, the right armpit and left armpit, the left wrist and right wrist, the left hand and the right hand, the the fingers of the right hand, the thumb of the right hand, the fingers of the left hand, the thumb of the left hand. The right breast and the left breast, the right side of the waist, the left side of the waist, the navel, the pubic bones, the right hip, right thigh, left thigh, right knee, right shin, left shin, right ankle, left ankle, the top of the right foot, the top of the left foot, the base of the right foot and the base of the left foot. All the toes of the right foot and all the toes of the left. The whole of the right side of the body and the whole of the left side of the body. The whole body. Having an awareness of the whole body and imagining now that the whole body is a shimmering, bright light. So the body is shimmering, maybe a silver or a white. And then allow that colour to dim. Maybe turning through blues and oranges and purples until it settles to a velvety black. Like a starless sky, a velvety black. The whole body feels like it's a velvety black. And then noticing the colours changing maybe to purple and blue and orange and green until the body returns to a white iridescent light, shiny and light. And then how would it be if the body was really dark and velvety and bright and light at the same time? A dark and velvety body and bright and light body at the same time. And then let that go. And allow the attention to come back to the body and to the nose. And starting to become aware of the air as it comes in and out of the nose. And maybe noticing now the smell that you can be aware of. The smell as it enters your nostrils. Noticing all that you can smell. There may be really subtle smells. At this time of year, you might notice the smell of recently cut grass if you have a window open. Or if you wear a favourite perfume or soap, you might notice that smell. Or there might be a familiar smell of the detergent you use to wash your clothes. Or of the blanket that's covering you. Having an awareness of your sense of smell. And then allowing your breath to become a little bit deeper and a little bit stronger. So you can start to really hear your breath as it comes and goes. The breath all the way in. And the breath all the way back out. Luxuriating in the breath as it comes in and out. And using the breath to start to wake up the body now. Waking up the body, having a little stretch and a move. If you're lying on your back, you might want to bring your knees into your tummy and have a little rock from side to side. Waking up the body now, waking up the mind. And knowing that you can choose to have this time as if you are waking up for the first time today. And you can feel the comfort and ease and loveliness of having had a really good rest. So coming up to a comfortable seated position now. That's it. Yeah. And just as we're coming up to a seated position, I read this directly from Women Who Run with Wolves. And I chose this story because of the connection to the earth, and also because of the giggly goddess. Because in times of hardship, I mean, this earth goddess lost her daughter. That's pretty tough. So in tough times, humour can really help us through. So finding things that are going to make us giggle, things that are going to lighten us and make us laugh and be silly, they can really help. Even smiling when you don't feel like smiling can help you feel a bit more happy. Like a forced smile can turn into a real smile. So you can have a play with humour. Okay, so we are going to close the class today by chanting our Oms together 3 times. So coming into a comfortable seated position, allowing your attention to come to your breath and breathing in. Bring your hands together, rub them till they're nice and warm. And gently cup your hands over your eyes and draw your fingers down your face and come to Namaste, Namaste,